Niccolò di Bernardo de Machiavelli was born on May 3, 1469, in Florence, Italy, during a time of profound political upheaval and cultural flourishing in the Italian Renaissance. This period was characterized by intense competition among city-states, the rise of powerful merchant families, and a renewed interest in classical antiquity. This documentary, part 1 of our series, will explore his early life, foundational education, and his significant rise within the Florentine Republic, a journey that would ultimately shape his groundbreaking political philosophies and secure his place as one of history's most influential thinkers. We will delve into the specific historical context that molded his perspectives, examining the intricate political landscape of Florence and the broader Italian peninsula during his formative years. Machiavelli came from a respectable, though not wealthy, middle-class family. His father, Bernardo Machiavelli, was a lawyer who often faced financial difficulties, a common challenge for many professionals in Renaissance Florence, despite his legal background. His mother was Bartolomea di Stefanonelli. The family owned some property but lived modestly, navigating the complex political landscape of Florence, especially after the Medici exile in 1494 and the re-establishment of the Republican government. This period of Republican rule, following decades of Medici dominance, was marked by both fervent civic pride and persistent instability, deeply influencing Machiavelli's understanding of governance and statecraft. The family's experiences during these turbulent times provided Machiavelli with a first-hand view of political change and the fragility of power. Educated primarily at home, Machiavelli received a robust classical foundation, studying grammar, rhetoric, and Latin extensively. This humanist education was typical for aspiring young men of his social standing and was considered essential for public service. He immersed himself in the works of ancient authors such as Livy, whose historical accounts of the Roman Republic provided models of civic virtue and political organization, Cicero, whose treatises on rhetoric and philosophy offered insights into persuasive argumentation and ethical governance, and Virgil, whose epic poetry instilled a sense of classical grandeur and literary excellence. Alongside these Roman masters, he also studied Italian literary giants like Dante Alighieri and Francesco Petrarch, whose works were central to the burgeoning Italian literary tradition. This deep engagement with classical texts profoundly shaped his understanding of history, political theory, and human nature, providing him with a rich intellectual framework through which to analyze the political realities of his own time. In 1498, following the execution of the radical Dominican friar Girolamo Savonarola, who had established a theocratic republic in Florence, a significant political vacuum emerged. Savonarola's fall created an opportunity for new leadership and a return to more traditional republican governance. At the age of 29, Machiavelli was appointed second chancellor of the Republic, a pivotal role where he managed foreign affairs and was instrumental in organizing the Florentine militia. For 14 years, until 1512, he served the Republic with dedication, advocating for citizen soldiers over mercenaries, believing that a state's own citizens would fight more fiercely for their homeland. This experience in military organization and diplomacy provided him with invaluable practical knowledge of state administration and the challenges of maintaining a republic in a volatile political environment. During his tenure as second chancellor, Machiavelli undertook several key diplomatic missions that profoundly influenced his political thought and provided him with direct observations of European statecraft. He traveled to meet Cesare Borgia, the ambitious son of Pope Alexander VI, in 1502, observing his ruthless tactics and effective, albeit brutal, methods of consolidating power firsthand in the Romagna region. Further missions took him to Pisa in 1502 to 1503, where he was involved in the Florentine efforts to regain control of the rebellious city, and multiple times to France in 1504 and 1510, where he engaged with the court of King Louis XII and gained insights into the workings of a powerful monarchy. These extensive experiences across the unstable Italian states and beyond provided him with invaluable insights into power dynamics, statecraft, the practicalities of republicanism, and the often unscrupulous nature of political leaders, all of which would later inform his most famous writings. Machiavelli's early career, marked by his rigorous classical education, his family background within the Florentine middle class, and his extensive diplomatic experiences laid the essential groundwork for his enduring contributions to political thought. These formative years, spent navigating the complex political currents of Renaissance Italy, shaped the perspectives that would later define his influential writings, such as The Prince and Discourses on Livy, and ultimately secure his place in history as a foundational figure in political philosophy. His practical observations and theoretical insights, born from this period, continue to be studied and debated centuries later, underscoring the profound impact of his early life and career on Western political thought.
Following his early diplomatic career, Niccolò Machiavelli faced dramatic and profound changes in Florence, marking a pivotal and transformative shift in his life's trajectory. This comprehensive documentary, presented as part 2 of our series, delves deeply into his major roles and responsibilities after the year 1512, meticulously examining his principal writings and exploring his enduring and significant legacy on the landscape of political thought and philosophy. We will explore how these events shaped his most influential works and his lasting impact on governance. The year 1512 proved to be an undeniable and catastrophic turning point for Machiavelli and for Florence itself. The powerful Medici family, who had been exiled from the city years prior, made a triumphant return to Florence, effectively bringing an abrupt and definitive end to the Florentine Republic, a government that Machiavelli had diligently and loyally served for many years. This sudden and dramatic political upheaval had immediate, severe, and far-reaching consequences for him personally and professionally, altering the course of his life irrevocably. Machiavelli was swiftly and unceremoniously dismissed from his long-held and influential government positions, effectively stripped of his political influence, his public standing, and his primary source of livelihood. Shortly after this dismissal, he was unjustly accused of involvement in a conspiracy against the newly restored Medici regime, an accusation that led directly to his arrest and subsequent brutal torture. This period marked a profound personal crisis, challenging his resilience and commitment to his ideals. Though he steadfastly maintained his innocence throughout the ordeal, the experience was profoundly traumatic and deeply impactful. Upon his eventual release from imprisonment, Machiavelli was exiled from his beloved Florence, retreating to his family farm in Sant'Andrea in Percasina. This period of forced solitude and political isolation, initially a punishment, would paradoxically become his most creatively productive and intellectually fertile time, allowing him to reflect and write extensively. It was during this period of enforced exile, beginning in 1513, that Machiavelli penned his most famous and controversial work, The Prince. This seminal treatise on princely rule, intended as a practical guide for acquiring, maintaining, and exercising political power, was controversially dedicated to Lorenzo de' Medici the Younger. This dedication was a calculated, albeit ultimately unsuccessful, attempt to regain favor with the ruling family and secure a return to public service, demonstrating his persistent desire to serve Florence. Beyond the immediate impact of The Prince, Machiavelli also composed discourses on the first 10 books of Titus Livy, a profound and extensive exploration of republicanism, civic virtue, and the lessons of ancient Roman history. This work stands in sharp intellectual contrast with the monarchical themes and advice presented in The Prince, showcasing the breadth of his political thought and his deep engagement with different forms of governance and their underlying principles. His intellectual output continued with The Art of War, a detailed and insightful analysis of military organization, strategy, and the importance of a citizen militia, reflecting his practical experience in Florentine defense. Later, he undertook the monumental task of writing the Florentine Histories, a comprehensive and meticulously researched account of Florence's past, from its origins to his own time. This significant work was commissioned by the very Medici family who had previously exiled him, highlighting the complex and often contradictory nature of his relationship with the ruling powers. Machiavelli briefly returned to public life in the 1520s, undertaking minor diplomatic missions and historical tasks for the Medici family, who recognized his intellectual capabilities despite their past conflicts. However, despite these limited engagements, his full restoration to a position of significant political prominence and influence never materialized. he remained largely on the periphery of power, a testament to the lasting impact of his earlier dismissal and exile, and the Medicis' continued distrust. Niccolò Machiavelli died on June 21, 1527, in Florence at the age of 58. His death occurred amidst yet another significant political upheaval, the devastating sack of Rome, which had profound repercussions across Italy. This event once again saw the Medici family expelled from Florence, creating a new power vacuum. However, by this time, Machiavelli was too ill and frail to participate in or influence these dramatic political shifts, marking a quiet end to a life of intense public service and intellectual endeavor. Despite his passing, Machiavelli's profound influence was only just beginning to take root. The Prince was published posthumously in 1532, 5 years after his death, quickly becoming a controversial yet foundational text in the burgeoning field of political philosophy. Its revolutionary ideas on power, statecraft, and political realism profoundly shaped subsequent political thought across Europe and beyond, challenging conventional wisdom about morality and governance, and introducing a new, pragmatic perspective on leadership. His work introduced concepts that would later be termed Machiavellianism, a term often misinterpreted as advocating ruthless, cynical, and amoral behavior in pursuit of power. However, his true and more nuanced legacy lies in his pragmatic and unflinching analysis of political realities, meticulously separating the practical necessities of effective governance from traditional ethical and moral considerations. He sought to describe politics as it was, rather than as it ought to be, a revolutionary approach for his time. Machiavelli's writings continue to inform and provoke discussions on the fundamental nature of governance, the complexities of leadership, and the enduring aspects of human nature in the political sphere. This makes him one of history's most studied, debated, and often misunderstood political thinkers. His profound insights into the mechanisms of power and the challenges of maintaining a stable state remain remarkably relevant in understanding the intricate complexities of modern politics and leadership, offering timeless lessons for contemporary analysis. Niccolò Machiavelli's profound and enduring observations on the mechanics of power, the realities of statecraft, and the often unpredictable nature of human behavior ensure that his works continue to resonate with scholars and practitioners alike. His writings offer timeless lessons and critical perspectives for students of history, political science, and anyone seeking to understand the intricate dynamics of power and governance in any era. His legacy is a testament to the enduring power of intellectual inquiry and the courage to confront uncomfortable truths about leadership.